A deadbeat mom can't pay her rent. Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters? Hey, you want to do an elaborate intro like we did the last time we talked about Ghostbusters?
No.
Oh,
Well.
yeah, I'm tired too.
Yeah, it's late. I guess I'll just start the podcast and just kind of be like,
We already started the podcast.
no, we didn't have our actual intro yet.
Yes, we did.
That was a cold opening.
Well, then the thing played and now we're talking. The thing
Okay.
has started. Talk.
Welcome to the Out of Touch podcast. My name's Chris. That's Bill. We talk about movies and new movies sometimes. We saw Ghostbusters Afterlife. Bill, tell us all about this movie because my movie viewing experience was less than optimal while viewing this.
Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I was sat next to a little kid that, was squirming around, talking a lot, constantly going, I don't know, in weird positions where they were sitting at the front end of their seat, like almost standing up. Also, they took off their shoes and had really smelly feet. It was bad.
Kid got up how many times?
I don't know, but parents, have you ever sat down and just hitting your kids when they're bad?
You have to hit your kids, be like, hey, sit still and watch the movie or we're leaving.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my parents would never let me do all the stuff this kid was doing in the theater.
We live in a world without discipline.
It was very distracting, and I was just thinking to myself, maybe it wouldn't be that bad watching movies at home. But anyway.
Shut your mouth. The theater-going experience is important.
I guess it is. But, yeah. So, Bill, what happened in Ghostbusters Afterlife? Because literally I try to think back at what happened in this movie, and all I can remember is just like, that kid smells really bad. Why did they take off their shoes? We're in a public place. For God's sake. Parents, tell your kids to put their shoes back on.
Kids, like Dad was sitting right there, too.
Yeah. So.
Parent your kids.
Anyway.
But enough of this public service announcement.
Yeah.
I guess it's on me. Okay, so Ghostbusters Afterlife. The long-awaited Ghostbusters 3,
Yes.
essentially. Wow, man, this is hard to talk about. This movie, it's
kind of spoilery, like from the beginning.
Yeah, okay, so you know what? Look, let's just do quick. I thought this movie was really good.
Yeah.
From what he saw, he thought it was really good too.
It was good.
It was amusing, it was entertaining, the new characters were generally likable. What we saw of the original characters was fun. Sometimes there's a few emotional moments, but I digress.
Yeah.
It was good. And like you said, it kind of opens with, as we saw in the trailer, spoilers from here. Just look, it's spoilers.
Big spoiler.
Lots of spoilers.
Yeah.
It pretty much opens up with the death of Egon.
Yeah.
Cast in shadow, not really seeing a face, because obviously Harold Ramis has been gone since, 2014?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. And we see he's like holed up on this old farmhouse. He was doing something at the Shandor mines. We kind of find out later what he was doing. Because we see like the proton beam shooting in the sky at one point and him fleeing. He's got a ghost trap. He's got something. He's trying to catch something. Doesn't quite work out, and he's killed.
Yeah. And movie begins with, I guess, his...
Well, first we see the main title, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and that's kind of the moment where it clicked in my head. I'm like, oh, I get the title now. I really get the title now. Because until like maybe like one of the last trailers, they didn't really have any indication that how recent Egon's death was going to be. It almost seemed like, oh, this could have been like a while ago, but no, it happens like a week ago before the main story kind of kicks off.
Yeah, he literally like just died.
Yeah. And then we open the main story with, I guess they're the Spanglers,
Yeah.
with Egon's adult daughter and her 2 kids.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Phoebe and Trevor.
Yeah, Phoebe, of course. She's the main character of the movie.
Yeah.
And she is very much...
She's a little smarty pants.
She's
like,
little girl Egon.
Yeah.
She's got that weird, like, emotional problems that Egon had. She's wearing the glasses, just so we know. It's like, this is the little Egon. She's a little Egon girl.
She's little smarty pants. She's ripping out like electrical wires in the middle of the house for some reason.
I think they were siphoning power from their neighbors.
Oh man, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The plot is like Egon...
Well, the basic setup is the Egon's daughter. She's bad at everything. She's out of money, getting evicted. And all she has is this farmhouse that Egon left to her.
Right. We don't really know what Egon was doing there until...
Not initially.
Yeah.
Kind of get an idea of it as the movie goes along. And pretty quickly we realize that, oh, wait a minute. Egon's dead, but he's a character in this movie, even though we don't really see him.
Yeah. Because
his ghost is helping out the entire time, guiding his granddaughter to his equipment and stuff. It's crazy.
I like how like the first interaction goes with like the chessboard and like he moves the piece and then like
first he knocks the board over. Yeah. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, because it's kind of interesting because he like moves one piece and then she like the granddaughter before she goes to like summer school for some reason because I guess like it's just like the mom's like, I can't watch you all day. I have to do stuff. So you're going to summer school, even though you're probably too smart for summer school.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why it wasn't just regular school.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing. That was odd. I didn't quite get that.
So she like moves a piece before she goes to school, and then she gets home, and another piece has moved. And
yeah.
I thought that was gonna be like a more back and forth type thing, but
it was a little bit. But then it goes right into oh shit! It's actually just like up and down moving, and that's when you get to know it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is definitely Egon's ghost helping.
Yeah.
As we see in the trailer, she discovers the equipment. She doesn't even know what the Ghostbusters are.
Yeah, she doesn't believe in, like, ghosts. I mean, she meets a kid in her class that literally his name is Podcast.
Well, that's what he calls himself.
Yeah. They should have just gave him a normal name. Like, it's kind of goofy.
It's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters has a foot in goofy.
Yeah.
It can be a little goofy, not too goofy. Because if you go too far, it's stupid.
Yeah. Kid was fun, though.
Yeah, he was fine. At first I thought maybe he knew about the Ghostbusters, but then it turned out he didn't. Because when she was just like, I don't believe in ghosts, he's like, but what? All the evidence!
Yeah.
Though the older brother apparently had like heard about the stuff from the 80s.
Yeah.
They kind of dance around the whole like, do people actually believe this or what? Because we got the Paul Rudd character who's like the summer school teacher, but it seems like he's like in the town for a purpose because he's like, what's with this weird seismic activity?
Yeah.
And he's old enough that he was just like, yeah, man, Ghostbusters. I know about all this stuff. I love that shit.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah, we see like little news clips and stuff from like just using footage from the old movies. Pretty well done for the most part because usually it's like when you see like footage from like a movie or whatever being presented as like security footage or news footage, it always looks kind of bad. But they have it in a way where it's like, okay, this looks good. This actually looks like it could be news footage. Even though I'm just like, I know that scene. That's a scene from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but that scene in Ghostbusters too, like they took the scene where they're driving up to the building that Gozer comes out of, and that kind of looks like it could be like news footage in some ways.
You choose the right sections. Yeah, you make it grainy. Maybe you make it a little shaky, and then it works out pretty well.
Yeah. And then, there's the commercial they made.
Yeah, so. I mean, that works because it's just a commercial.
Yeah. It's weird because, I thought going into this movie when it's like, oh, we're doing a new Ghostbusters movie, it's going to be about kids. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When that first teaser trailer dropped and I realized, oh, no, kids? I don't know. I'm not sure I don't think I'm going to like this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. As I rewatched that initial trailer and, like, the new ones, I'm like, it's kind of growing on me. Kind of dig the vibe they're going for. And I get the whole Stranger Things comparison, but I've never watched Stranger Things, so I don't really give a shit.
Neither have I. All I think that show is a bunch of kids being like, gosh, I hope we sure solve this mystery. That's probably not what that show is.
Probably not.
But that's what my mind sees it as.
I just... It was a show I was like, maybe I'll check it out.
Plus, it takes place in 1980. It was like forever ago.
It was a show that I always intended to maybe check out, but then I didn't check it out.
Because
and
it
then
got too popular and the fans became obnoxious.
No, not really.
Well, one fan did.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I was just thinking that how, like, it was just like, oh, there's more of it? That's too much. I'm not going to watch it. It's just like, there's accumulated only like 3 seasons, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's true. If it was like one season with like 8 episodes, I'd be like, all right, I'll check it out. But now I'm like, it's like 4 seasons. I'm like, oh, all right, guys, that's like 40 episodes.
That's a bit much.
Yeah. I barely have time to watch the new stuff.
You're still an episode behind a Stargirl, you son of a bitch.
Been busy.
No, you haven't.
Well, half of that's true. Anywho, this new Ghostbusters movie.
It's pretty simple, and because like the original Ghostbusters, it's kind of like they're starting a business. That's kind of the big push of the story. And this is kind of like almost learning about your family history, discovering where you came from in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've ever found out like stuff about your family history that made you go, wait, what? Like, I once found out that one of my great-grandfathers was a stuntman in old Hollywood.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always stuff like that in families. Like, I can't think of anything like off the bat in my family that was kind of like that, but
Just like learning little things like, oh, this guy was a butcher. These guys were construction workers. And this guy fled back to Ireland to avoid getting killed by the mafia.
The most I know is just like, it's like, this is your great-great-grandfather. He had a fruit cart in in New York City back in the 1800s. I'm like, neat.
All the stories I hear about my grandfather that usually end with, and then he beat them up.
Yeah. No, I'm more simple folk.
I guess so.
Simple working immigrants, the classic American story, more or less.
Those are my relatives too, but I guess there's a little more color and drama occasionally.
Yeah. So some stuff of just like, how dare you marry an Italian?
There was a little bit of that in my family tree too.
Yeah. And World War II stuff. My grandpa was on a battleship that got like blown up and was.
I had a great uncle that fought in the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa was out in sea for a while, like just like trying not to get eaten by sharks, and then was finally picked up. So
it's like you find out like, wow, look at what my family accomplished. Like Phoebe finds out my grandfather was a Ghostbuster. He was this famous scientist. He did all this stuff. He proved that ghosts were real.
Yeah.
And that you could capture them.
I like the scene where she's working on the proton pack and he's like, Egon's kind of like guiding her, and she's like, how the heck did you build this? And like he has like a light and shines it over to like all these like college degrees, and she's like, oh, you were a scientist.
It's like, oh, you're a super genius.
Yeah. That was a pretty good scene.
And I like the use of the light, because it's like he's using it as I like using the light as a guide. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because he sort of can like interact with like things. You don't like see him as a full body apparition until like the very end of the movie, but
I wasn't sure if they were going to do that or not.
Yeah, me too, because at the beginning of the movie when you see Egon, he's like all shadowed out.
Yeah, they shoot around it and stuff. I think that was the right choice, because with the ghost, he's translucent.
Yeah.
He's glowy, so you can hide all the glaring imperfections that come with making CGI people. See Tarkin, young Leia, and young Luke, and so many others. So many other resurrected dead people, or de-aged old people.
I guess.
I'm just saying, there's the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
And
it's gotten better, but yeah. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Salvation.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
I equate this to what they did in Superman Returns, where they recreated Marlon Brando as Jor-El, but they covered it up with all, like, the crystals and stuff. So it almost looked good. It looked real.
Yeah.
Like, you hide the imperfections, because it's just not there. like, you could show that image at Tarkin and be like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Like, if they don't know it's like that's a dead actor being recreated with CGI, you could show that to someone and be like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, they won't be able to know at first, but something will tell them that there's something wrong.
Yeah, it's like that instinct in your primal instincts is just like, something's wrong with that man. He's sick or something. We need to stay away from him.
Yeah, exactly. This, it's a pretty straightforward discovering the legacy of the Ghostbusters story. We get like some adventuring as Phoebe and her friend test the equipment.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, her brother finds Ecto-1. He's a car guy, so he just starts fixing it because he wants to drive a car.
Yeah, which kind of is just like, the brother's kind of like secretly, I guess, like a little smart too, because like, he's figuring out how to like
He's a gearhead.
fix the car,
Yeah.
He's not as like, I guess like Phoebe is like kind of like, she's like Dexter's Laboratory smart, where he's kind of just like normal smart.
I guess. I mean, I couldn't fix a car. Could you?
Yeah, probably. You do know what I do for a living, so.
Fixing computers and fixing cars are not the same thing, Chris.
I don't fix computers.
Whatever magic witchcraft you do.
Yeah.
Electrical engineering.
Whatever.
Voodoo.
But yeah, so she's like super smart though.
Yeah. As we find out in the course of the movie, this is following up on the events of the original with the Shandor cult and Gozer.
Yeah.
Now, I could see how some people would be like, oh, they're doing that again, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, that stuff's there, but that was not the main thing in Ghostbusters. It was just something that they had to shoot with proton packs.
Yeah.
So I'm not bothered by that stuff being in it again. I don't care.
It works, it's a good way to tie it into like the original movie,
Yeah.
making like this like Gozer prophecy thing, something that happened throughout history.
Yeah.
Like, they have it like, they have all these dates they find in this like kind of ancient temple, but at the same time not really that ancient, because like a guy,
it was probably built by the Shandor cult.
yeah, because like they just like made it look like that on purpose.
They just carved it into rock.
Yeah.
You actually see Shandor's corpse on display. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, it's weird.
It was one of the few like kind of creepy moments. There's not a lot of creepiness in this movie.
No.
But that one, especially when shit goes crazy and he just like wakes up for like a second.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little creepy.
Yeah. I mean, more or less, it's like Gozer is going to wake up in, 2021.
Again.
Yeah, and Egon was trying to prevent Gozer from waking up, because I guess, like, if Gozer wakes up again, it's gonna, like, destroy the world.
I guess, because they didn't destroy Gozer. They just sent Gozer back where it came from.
Yeah.
And in, like, other media, Gozer's popped up again multiple times. Pops up in the video game, the comics, probably in the cartoons too, I bet.
Yeah, they kind of made Gozer in this, like, more of, like, a threat. With,
guess.
like, it's like, this is, like, a world-ending, like, type of thing.
To be fair, that was the threat in the original too.
Yeah.
But we just see just a little bit more of, like, the flat top Gozer.
Yeah.
There's no giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's little Stay Puffs,
There's
though.
little tiny ones.
That was kind of amusing.
I don't really get an explanation about that. They just, like, are there.
Yeah, I mean, all this, it's just the explosion of supernatural activity, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe Gozer just remembering. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll roll with it.
Yeah, there was no, like, choose the form of, like,
Nah.
your destroyer or whatever.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
There's a few moments where I was like, that callback was a little too on the nose. Like, when they get the Ecto-1 rolling and they find a ghost and they chase it down. The only action set piece to ever involve Ecto-1 in one of these movies, really.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, cartoons would do it, but the movies, Ecto-1 was just point A to point B vehicle. But we got like a fun little beat with Phoebe's in the gunner's seat, brothers driving.
Yeah.
Podcast kids got the little remote control trap.
Yeah.
And, they get locked up afterwards.
That whole, like, gunner seat thing, it's like, I that probably was a toy back then for
Yes,
sure, right?
that definitely was.
Yeah.
It was probably in the cartoon too.
Yeah.
That definitely feels like something I've seen before. Just never in live action.
Yeah.
But I'm like, cool. I like to see that. Let's show. I like to see them bring out the Ecto one with like the big giant trap on top, like they did in the video game and like
Yeah.
the old video games too. The Super Slammer.
Was, you know, in Ghostbusters 2, they have the Ecto 2, right?
It's Ecto 1A.
Oh, it's 1A.
That's what the license plate says. I don't know if it's supposed to be a separate car or not.
Yeah, I was wondering
always-
about that.
I have to lean towards separate.
Okay.
That's always been my assumption. I actually thought maybe when the original ones were going to roll up, they were going to roll up in the Ecto 1A.
Yeah.
Because like the top is different, and we clearly see that it's reverted back to the original top. So like my assumption was maybe that they would just make it so that's there's more than one, but and they just. But I don't know. We just gotta. I think the assumption is maybe there's just one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to say. It doesn't really track.
Yeah.
Egon just stripped all the new gear off. And I'm not just talking about like the flashy hire us lights and stuff. I'm talking about like the tech stuff on top too.
Yeah.
And like the license plate. Like it's just back to the Ecto 1 license plate.
Guess.
Like that's why I was assuming that Ecto 1A was maybe a separate car.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it could still be that.
Yeah.
Maybe it got blown up by something. Who the fuck knows? It's clear that the Ghostbusters did do some ghostbusting after the events of Ghostbusters too.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like well, it doesn't seem like we find out that, you know, as it continued there was like less and less ghosts to bust.
As that seems to happen.
Yeah.
Inactivity causes it happened before, it happened again with it's like, oh, we ran ghosts just activity just kind of went away.
Yeah, and Egon was kind of like, I guess, investigating this whole thing with like Gozer and kind of becoming like a little like more nutty than usual.
Well, it seems like he found that map and was just like, oh shit, and then he went to that place and was like, fuck, and then he just like bailed on everybody.
Yeah.
Though it seems Janine kept tabs on him.
Yeah.
But like Ray was a little bitter about it.
Yeah, because
Venkman probably just said whatever.
Because it sounded like Venkman and Winston went off to do their own thing, and it was just Ray and Egon for a while, and then like Egon just like left one day and took all the stuff.
A lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
He took the Ecto 1, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because they clearly had some proton packs in storage that they were able to bring down.
Yeah, because I think Ray even said like he took like all the traps though.
Oh, I mean, Ray probably knew how to make some more.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. The tech stuff was more Egon's territory.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't get a lot of the originals. I think we get the right amount.
Just enough.
Just enough to make you go, yeah, that was nice.
Just enough so you don't realize that, although you will realize that Bill Murray is 114 years old now.
He looks it. We get a little bit more of Ray in the main movie, where apparently the Ghostbusters phone number is the same phone number as Ray's occult.
Yeah.
Not sure why.
Yeah, also,
I guess maybe that doesn't make any sense.
if you didn't have to find an area code, or I guess you just like assumed like New York City area code.
Look, all movie phone numbers are 555. Let it go.
I know.
I mean, she could have just Googled Ray Stantz, been like, where's Ray Stantz? Ray's occult books. Okay, found him.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the reasoning behind having it just be the Ghostbusters number, because you know who you're going to call and all that.
Yeah, and it sounded like Ray's like getting prank calls once in a while about it.
Or just getting like bothered by weirdos.
Yeah.
He's probably gets phone calls from weirdos and assholes.
Yeah.
And he's probably just over that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Ray's sad.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of predicted sad Ray.
I know.
I mean, to be fair, it's justified I thought maybe he'd only be sad because, Egon just died, but he didn't know.
Yeah.
He finds out over the phone.
Yeah, it's like they haven't seen Egon in like a decade almost, it sounds like.
Maybe more.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because I guess like they were still busting ghosts like up until like sometime in the like mid 2000s when they finally like sort of disbanded.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some wiggle room there, I guess.
Yeah.
You could sneak in some cartoon adventures or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Comic books.
I mean, no Ghostbusters Extreme happened, or did it, but...
Different continuity.
Yeah.
That's in the continuity of the real Ghostbusters.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Also, like, we find out, like, they lost the firehouse.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, what? No! But then that gets rectified later.
Yeah.
We do find out that Winston became very successful.
Yes, indeed. I guess, like, some bullet points before we get to, like, the emotional stuff towards the end.
I mean, the big bullet points are, as much like the original movie, we got Gozer, we got the Keymaster, we got Zool and all that.
We've got this new version of
Vince
Slimer, Muncher.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah, different enough, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, like, considering, like, they do a lot of references and stuff and from the originals, the fact that Slimer is not in the movie is almost a miracle.
Yeah.
That's like Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt not being in the Han Solo movie. It's like, whoa, we're straight. Shocking. We get the Terror Dogs again. They're actual puppets.
Yeah.
And CGI as well. Just like like when they run around, like how like they were stop motion in the original. Puppets look great. Look good.
You get the mom being possessed by Zool and Paul Rudd is possessed by the other. It's weird because when they talk, like, they just have, like, monster voices when they're being possessed. There's, like, the whole part where, like, you know, the kids kind of figure out what the Keymaster and the Key need to do when they meet, and they're just like, oh.
It's like, what?
Yeah. There's, like, a funny bit, too, with, like, Phoebe and her, like, stupid jokes that her brothers always said, like, tell a joke.
It's like, have you been practicing your jokes? That comes to play in the third act where she uses it to distract Gozer.
Yeah. The one podcast kid, though, thinks, like, they're hilarious when she tells one, which is fun.
There's bitterness from Egon's daughter from being abandoned, but, like, Phoebe's like, but he was, like, important. Why didn't you tell me my grandfather was, like, scientist? Because I can understand why she'd be upset, because it's like, there's someone in this family tree that's like me.
Yeah.
And I can totally get that.
Yeah, it's interesting that, you know, Egon's daughter, she, like, didn't even know him, like, at all, it seems like.
It seems like he had his breakdown when she was young?
Yeah. Like, little? I don't know. It's weird.
It's unclear.
We don't even know, like, who's the daughter's mom, like...
I mean, he might not have even been, like, married. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
it was
know
just like maybe somebody like kind of was like dating or.
It's it's a little vague. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
It still works.
Yeah, you can see Egon being like one of those guys that's just like, yeah, I was together with this person once. Okay, bye.
But we see the daughter go into like the Egon's Ghostbusters bunker.
Yeah.
And he's got like a collage of her photos and stuff showing that he did care. He came here to prevent the apocalypse, to keep everyone safe and alive.
Yeah.
But he also still cared about his daughter, even if he kept his distance.
Yeah. Because like he had like a whole like setup with like I guess like the proton pack lasers shooting this like what did they call it? It was like death pit or something.
It was a pit. There was some kind of pit in the mountain where they were throwing sacrifices to sort of like empower Gozer, I guess. It was like some kind of dimensional breach or some kind.
Yeah.
And like with like Gozer trying to like get out but being kept at bay by a bunch of proton packs.
Yeah.
That were like as soon as something detected, we're just like open fire.
It is interesting when Gozer is revived. That Ivo Shandor guy. He like wakes up and he's just like, we can finally be together, because I guess he was just in love with Gozer, and then Gozer just immediately rips him in half. It's kind of like, whoa.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you deal with evil death goddesses.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, Shandor, you idiot.
Seriously. So dumb.
And then, they rescued the mom from the terror dog form, and Gozer starts chasing after them because they got the terror dog in the trap, and Gozer needs both terror dogs to even be on Earth fully.
Yeah.
So she's like half formed. It's like, ah!
It's kind of cool. It's sort of what like Egon was trying to do at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's like PB even says, it's our grandfather's plan. This entire farm's a trap.
Yeah.
He made a gigantic ghost trap of sorts.
Yeah, they try to capture Gozer.
It doesn't quite work. I didn't even realize what happened, that the girl Lucky got possessed by the terror dog.
Yeah.
I somehow missed that. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff happening. I might have got distracted by that annoying kid too in that moment. I don't know.
Yeah, that was bad.
And of course, things look really bad. It's like, oh shit, is Gozer about to win? And then a very familiar face calls out, "Hey, Flat Top! Long time no see!"
Yeah.
And there they are, the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's pretty fun when they show up. There's also like the callback of like Gozer says like, "Are you a god?" And then like, "Was this like Ray?" Like it's like, yes, we're all gods.
But Gozer was really asking that more mockingly this time anyway.
Yeah.
I do like Winston being like, fucking say it right. Say it right this time, Ray.
Yeah. They got just enough to do, It's pretty fun when they do show up. They're not in a whole lot of the movie, just literally at the end.
Yeah, they're just there to help save the day.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's part of me that was like, I would have liked more of them, but that's just being greedy. And maybe we'll get more of them.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was good to see them though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've seen Bill Murray like this, like energized in a long time.
I guess.
I don't know. The last thing I remember seeing him in, I'm like, does he even want to be here?
I know he makes like a bunch of other movies that like I haven't seen.
Yeah.
He does like some more like serious movies.
But in a certain other movie with this branding on it, he looked like he just wanted to die.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No one should.
Anyway.
Then of course there was the great. I was shocked that they did it. I wasn't sure if they were gonna.
Yeah.
But the Ghostbusters, they cross the streams, but it's just not enough.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because there's only 3 of them. But Phoebe starts shooting, but she gets help.
Yeah, by her grandpa.
It's almost like the father holding the bat with you. But it's her grandfather, and it's the ghost of Egon in his Ghostbusters gear.
It's Ghostbusters' version of the father-son Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z.
What the fuck did you just say?
Exactly, but it's like when Goku is dead, but then he helps his son like defeat Cell. It kind of reminded me of that with Egon's like holding her hand, just how like Goku's like doing the Kamehameha with Gohan.
Do you think Jason Reitman's a Dragon Ball Z fan?
I mean, if he's like the same age as us, possibly.
Probably a little older.
Well, possibly.
He's probably 40-something at
It
this
just reminded me of that because it's like, yeah, she's helping, Egon's helping her shoot a beam at a monster, and I'm like, yeah, it's like Dragon Ball Z.
Sure. And of course, sure enough, we get that group shot of all 4 Ghostbusters in frame.
Yeah.
And I was like, they found a way.
Yeah.
And they reunited the Ghostbusters all on screen together.
It's a nice moment.
It's pretty emotional.
Yeah.
If you have like an emotional connection a nostalgia for this series, you might get a little misty-eyed.
Maybe.
I've seen it pointed out. There's gonna be a lot of instances of kids looking at their dads and wondering why their dads are crying. So you don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I just feel like I need to point it out. They did the thing that Star Wars failed to do when their entire cast was still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true.
It's like sometimes people just want to see their heroes reunite for one more go.
Yeah, just give the people what they want. You're paying good money for your movie. I don't give a shit about your dumbass art. It's not a jab at anything. Just saying. Whatever.
But, they save the day. Everyone has an emotional farewell with Egon.
Yeah.
Though I will say there's a great, when Egon first, at one point when he's lining up with the Ghostbusters, Ghost Egon, Venkman's just like, figured you'd show up.
I like when Egon's lining up with them, and then Winston looks, and then he just double takes and then taps Peter on the shoulder. Peter looks and then looks away and then looks back, and then Ray notices it. It's pretty good.
It's handled well. It's done tastefully. The entire movie, at the very end, it pops up. It's for Harold. It's a giant love letter to him and what he helped create with the Ghostbusters. And I'm sure it was made with the blessing and permission of his family.
Yeah.
They have his likeness, so I would assume so.
Yeah.
Not that people don't say yes to anything for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take advantage of people's likenesses.
I mean, it's a really good movie. It's a bit of a slower movie, I think, than maybe some people might have been expecting. I mean, maybe I'm just thinking that because I was sitting next to a fidgety child during the movie that literally didn't give a shit about it. But
probably.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to see it again to judge that really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really sure how long this movie was. It was definitely a little over 2 hours maybe, but I think the original Ghostbusters is 2 hours.
Yeah. Upon second viewing, I probably like it more.
I can see this growing on me even more. I mean, there's no one in this movie I dislike. I enjoyed the new characters. You got Paul Rudd he's just doing his Paul Rudd stuff.
Yeah.
That's what he's there for.
It's Paul Rudd, it's just really good.
It's just
hilarious.
He's doing pretty much the same role that Rick Moranis had, the guy that gets possessed and chased down. Rick Moranis was just doing his Rick Moranis stuff, and Paul Rudd was doing his Paul Rudd stuff.
Yeah.
There's just certain actors you just bring in just to do their stuff, and Paul Rudd's that guy.
He's also kind of into Phoebe's mom, and there's
they have a little romance.
There's a scene where I can't remember if it's the podcast kid says I think he wants to bone your mom, and then he's you don't care, and she's just oh no, I do care, I'm vomiting inside, but
he's just I don't express emotions well, but I'm vomiting on the inside.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, there's some nice deadpan jokes in this movie throughout.
Yeah.
There's a great moment that I kind of like where we see Podcast bonding with Ray.
Yeah. He's really into the occult stuff too.
He's got his podcast, and he's I need you on my podcast. It's called this, and Ray's wait, that's you? He's I listen to that all the time. He's just you're my subscriber? He's got one subscriber, and it's Ray.
Yeah, that was cute though.
That was funny. Yeah, it's a little kindred spirit moment.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And
that pretty much ends the main story, but we get 2 post-credit scenes because that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
One of them is kind of it's just there because we gotta get Sigourney Weaver in this movie somehow. It's just a nice little scene with them doing the weird card thing from the original. I just like that it's showing that they're still together and not broken up.
Yeah.
I actually thought for a second they were going to introduce adult Oscar played by somebody of note. I don't know who, but just somebody.
Sebastian Stan.
Too old. Oscar would be 33.
Okay.
33, 32, somewhere like that. Sebastian Stan's pushing 40.
Okay. Andrew, not the cat Garfield.
He's 40.
Is he really?
Yeah, he was 30 when he first played Spider-Man.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know then. Robert Pattinson Bat.
Probably wouldn't do it. Unless, he's the right age.
Yeah.
He's busy. He's Batman.
That's true.
Be weird for him to do all these weird indie movies and just be I'm a Ghostbuster.
I'm the baby from Ghostbusters 2. Gotta love me.
Oh, God.
If you know what that joke is, leave a comment.
Oh, my God.
We're tired.
been a long day.
Yeah.
And then there's the final scene, which opens up with an extended deleted scene from the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, just like another little moment between Egon and Janine.
Yeah.
And then we jump to the present with Janine, who's meeting with Winston. And it seems like Winston's getting ready to reopen the firehouse.
Yeah.
And as we see him doing that, he's rolling in. He's got Ecto-1 being rolled in there. He's going to fix it up. But then we get an ominous shot of the old containment unit. The light's blinking, but then we hear a noise, and we cut to black. Basically being like, oh shit, the containment unit's about to fail, which means a shit ton of ghosts are about to be unleashed on New York. Which means the Ghostbusters are going to have a lot of business coming their way once they reopen.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, you know. It would be interesting if they somehow continue Ghostbusters, and almost like it's weird because they could continue it like with like almost like you have like Winston and Ray and, you know, Bill Murray, I guess, kind of be in it, or maybe more like Winston and Ray kind of just be like, we have to train new Ghostbusters because we're too old for this, and you could have like a completely new cast again for like another movie,
and
you know.
The aforementioned, you could even include the aforementioned adult Dosker as one of those characters to be like the new generation of like the New York branch Ghostbusters, and you could even do another movie just following Egon's grandkids having creepy weird kid adventures as kid Ghostbusters. You could do, they might do, it's Sony, so they might do both. They're greedy like that.
They are.
I mean, think about it. Why should we just make Spider-Man movies when we can make Spider-Man villain movies too?
That's true.
And animated Spider-Man movies. Like, this is like a better launching port than the previous attempt they made.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens, but at the same time, if this is it for Ghostbusters, it's a pretty good ending, you know?
It's not bad. Like I said, the ominous thing with the ghost containment unit that works on two levels. It works as like a setup for the future, but it also works as like a
the adventure continues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's just ghosts, and they'll be ghost busting.
Yeah.
There's no like ominous threat in there. They're just ghosts that the Ghostbusters will bust.
Yeah. Most of the ghosts are just annoying. They're not really.
They're not the
world-ending spirits.
Yeah. There's not that many of them.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, one of them shows up, and well, shit.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call?